Hi there. What day is it today? Thursday. Yes, I had a little day off yesterday. Just had a bit of catching up to do. I had quite a lot of diaries to send out and a couple of other parcels to send out, and these things all take time. Plus, the place was a mess. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Heather. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you didn't miss me too much. I nearly didn't get here on time, so I had to go to the post office to post some stuff because sacks of mail, and of course it just takes time. There were people in front of me. Anyway, it gave me a chance to write a list. So today I thought we'd have a look at landscapes and also a hair. Hello, Carol Christie. Hello, Rose Rogers. A couple of questions that people have asked me I'm going to answer. One or two people have said, how interesting that you're left-handed. And, oh, I'm left-handed too. And I just thought, interesting. And I looked at the video, and of course the video mirrors everything, so it looks as if I'm left-handed. I am principally right-handed. I do paint with my left hand as well. Sometimes if I'm on a big painting, I use both hands. But no, I'm not left-handed. And somebody else said, do I ever paint my dogs? I've got a little card here. There we are, little Dorothy. Yes, I do paint them. So, landscapes. If I've turned the underfloor heating off, I rely on the underfloor heating, number one, to propagate seeds, and number two, to dry things. So I thought what I'm going to do is give you a little idea on some very small pieces of paper, how I might approach landscape painting. And what I do initially is I think about it. I spend a lot of time looking at hills, and if something strikes me, like last night I went out for my 5-mile walk to walk off the butterscotch, white chocolate and cranberry tray bake that came through the post yesterday. Thank you, Polly. And as I came back, I could see the hills up here, and I stopped in my tracks and I just looked and looked, and what absolutely struck me was the ridge and furrow, and I've done a lot of paintings based on that, and so that's very much in my mind. And the other thing which I look at in landscape paintings, it's like the overall mood, the mood and the colour. So like the wildness, the exposure and the colour. And the colour isn't always what you think it is. It's usually a reflection of what's around. So a sunset landscape will have a sunset landscape from here looking over to Ridsdale will be like, it'll turn the whole hill golden as the sun sets behind. So you need to sort of look at things differently through fresh eyes. So this could be like a sort of start of a landscape painting, which just looks like an old splishy sploshy of colour. So I'm going to do that now. Hello, Claire Walton, Joanne Renton, Julie Howard again, Tracy Kibler, Jenny, all these lovely, lovely people. Colours. Now, somebody asked me for advice about mixing colour. I'm really not the best person to ask because I'm going to turn you a bit. I just have all of these different splishy sploshy bits of colour, and I've got some bits of leftover paint in my palettes. I've got this white Corex that I mix paint on. It's not really very neat and tidy at all. I'm going to tip a little bit. Hello, Faux Millet. Christine Haig, who is getting painting as well. This is very exciting. So I'm just going to try and think about the overall colour that's going to be, oh, there it is, my Payne's grey, my lovely Payne's grey, that's going to be in this landscape painting. So this one will have quite a dark sky perhaps, and then I might think about the foreground, which would be maybe slightly warmer, greener colour. And as you can see, I'm not being careful in any way at all. I'm just thinking about colour, overall colour. And you know what? Nearly all the landscape paintings I do are in the autumn, when the whole of the hills around here, they just come to life, and you get things like the colours of the heather in the distance. You see, just putting even more of that. It's alizarin crimson, but it just gives you an idea of what the heather might be like. And then when you've got your colours, you can move them around. Just let them run off on their own. And this is very, very experimental. Most of what I do is experimental. Can you actually see me? Just wondering whether that's covering up the camera. Karen McCarthy, hello, look at your soft focus. Is that better? Marianne Ray, you can be like my, editor. Can you see now? Just a simple yes would do, thank you. Pauline Steele, hello. I'm going to put a bit more blue at the top of this, try to anyway. This is like playing with colour, really is, and it's going really well as far as I'm concerned. I really like that. So that could be the start of a yeah, you can see fine, great, yeah, thank you Sheila, thank you Claire, thank you Marianne, thank you everyone. I'm going to let that dry. You see, I can let that get bone dry and then start to look at where certain things start, like here and here and here. Maybe make that the horizon, maybe make that a wall, and perhaps here as well. So I try not to think about that now, just put it away, let it dry. I don't think it is going to dry because it's 5's turn the heating off, like I said. So here's one I prepared earlier. I wasn't as adventurous with the paint on this. It's a little bit pasty, but never mind. So I might just start to like firm things up, so make some decisions about the landscape. So I'm going to maybe make this the horizon. Very, very simple. That was the horizon. And then I'm going to start looking. See, where I am here, I've got a very far horizon, which I would say is about 6 or 7 miles away. Yeah, probably is. And there are some trees on the horizon. And then there are fairly clear layers, even though it's a little bit misty today. And I draw on what I see out of the window a lot for what I do. So I'm sort of thinking about the window, I'm thinking about what matters to me, and also about how the colour might work. And I'm going to when I drive around places like the borders and I look at the colour of the soil, like it's so red, isn't it? And especially during like the back end when they plough it, it's very noticeable. And I spend a lot of time when I'm driving around. I mean, do be careful, because I don't want to hear people crashing their cars because they're like rubbernecking out the window. But I do a lot of like looking out of the window and trying to see things all the time with fresh eyes. And I am totally making this up as I go along. Paul Knox, I remember when I showed you how to do the birds flying. Paul Knox, I owe everything to you. Oh, how lucky am I? Such a clever chap. If only he'd made something out of himself. Right. And then you can do more experimental stuff. Get some paint on the side of your brush and just let it bleed into those layers. These It's really, really good fun. I'm showing you my secrets here. As my lovely husband Fifey said, one of these days there's going to be a headline in the Hexham Courant. It'll be "Local Artist Shoots Herself in the Foot by Showing People Her Secrets." Anyway, hey ho, we've got to do something, haven't we? This is literally playing with paint. Are you enjoying it? Jess Johnson, smiling, laughy face. Paul Knox, remember to do the little stick people hiking. Yes, I mustn't forget the little stick people hiking. Are you beginning to see how this could possibly resemble? Certainly, I know some of you do have these sorts of views out of your windows. See, I'm setting this back through. I like to think of it as flooding my paper with, not emotion, but, you know, I hate the word essence as well. I'm going to capture the essence, but the real colour and the sense of this area. Hello, Jean Cole. Hello, Carol Crow. Stick people. Ha ha ha. Ruth Brown. Hello. Right, so I'm going to put that to one side and hope it'll dry. We can come back to it and maybe start putting some forestry in the background and some stone walls in. Neil Fox, hello. Fiona Ashford, mine is too wet. All the colours are running together. Well, mine are all running together too. It's perfect. Just leave it alone, let it dry and come back to it when it's bone dry, and it'll have gone a bit pale anyway. So I'm sort of imagining this as my horizon, another layer, and then the foreground. I'll put that. I suppose if we don't come back to them today, I could come back to them tomorrow. That's if you haven't offended me. We could leave the landscape subject for now. Let's think about leaves. Now, lots of my paintings have got loads and loads of foliage, sometimes in the foreground, sometimes in the background, and they're a little, oh god, I've got paint on it. They're a little bit, they're made up really, but I do draw from the sort of leaves that I quite like I like some ivies, and I like these big flat leaves that are a bit like, I don't know, foxglove or dock. This is my least favourite all-time leaf, and my garden is absolutely full of it. Ground elder. Hate it. Daffodil leaves, oriental poppy leaves, ivy leaves. Oh, and there's some nice little leaves in here. I love this sort of shape of leaf, and I do these quite often. These are euphorbia, so I've got to be really, really careful not to touch the white stuff that comes out, because I just get blisters all over my hands if I do. So I would draw on those shapes and things. Now, like here is a little hare that I started earlier. Put your pinny on hinny. Normally I just wear grey clothes, and that solves the problem. And I don't have any time for these artists to put things like berets on and smocks and things. It's not my thing. I'm going to get a nice shaped brush, and I'm just going to give you a bit of an idea about how I might put this little hair into some foliage. There I go, abusing my brushes. I hope Tim Sokol's not watching. I've been getting a little bit of stick off him for brush abuse. Mixing colours. There's nothing scientific about it. I literally just push it around and around until it looks a little bit like I want it to. I always have a scrap of paper that I can go, yep, that looks okay, or that's better. Okay. So again, just using that really, really simple twist of a Lovely to be watching it again. I'm really enjoying it, Claire. Thank you, Carol Hobcoat. That's really, really sweet. We, at this sort of time of year, we quite often find a leveret or baby hare in among the greenery just around the house and the studio. And it's quite amazing how they can just lie in, they can just sit really tight, because hares have one or sometimes two babies, and they don't go in a what do you call that, a tunnel? What do you call those things? A hole. They don't have them in a hole like a rabbit. They just sit them somewhere on the surface, and then go away and do their own thing, and then come back and feed them every so often. And somehow, when a young hare or a leveret has been left, they mustn't have much scent, because dogs don't even know they're there. Sometimes we can actually see a hare just lying in among the greenery, somewhere where the dogs, we've got 3 dogs, run around all the time, and they don't see them. So this is a little hare sitting tight, hoping nobody sees it. And I'm just adding some intensity of colour in certain areas of these leaves to hint at their form. You know the leaves I showed you, the euphorbia leaves? Really, really like them. I'm going to think about that shape for the next few leaves. I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush. As you know, I'm happier with a big brush. Becky Cordner's watching. Shouldn't you have your hand up? Somebody, not somebody, but like some calves pulling one out. Guess what I did this morning? And I did wash my hands. Yes, I help out lambing next door. And Becky Cordner, you go there, don't you? Yes, they hold you in high regard. And anyway, I'd done all the pens and the watering and stuck a few lambs onto the automatic drinker, and we, between us, that's myself and my next door neighbour, we'd cut a few lambs to put out. That means taking the testicles off and the tail with a little elastic band, which probably stings for a bit, but it doesn't bother them. And then Susan said, "You're not done yet." Oh no, what? So let's catch that yow over there. So we managed to get this Swelldale ewe tipped over, and she said, "Are the feet there? Are they ready?" She said, "Yes, right, go and get that lamb from the other pen where there were triplets, and a ewe that has triplets will struggle to have enough milk for 3. So what they do is, if you have a sheep that's had 1 and you manage to catch it in time, can you see how I'm sort of almost implying that it's lying underneath something with these lovely hanging down leaves? They don't burrow. No, they don't burrow. Burrow, that's the word. So anyway, I said, yeah, the feet are there. And we do this thing where Susan makes sure somebody else does it so that she does not get covered in slop and slime. So I get one of the triplets that was born last night, put it at this ewe's back end, right under her lady parts, and then gently get one of the feet out, then the other foot out, and then pull gently and just slightly ease the nose out, and then the shoulders, and then the lamb came out in a load of slop, and then I pull that over on top of the triplet that was born last night. I'm just going to plug the charger in because apparently I'm low. So that last night's triplet, oh for goodness sake, there we go. So that last night's triplet gets covered in all the slimy slop, and then I've rolled them together and got as much slop on the little triplet as I could, and then we put both lambs into a pen, and mummy lamb went followed them in and started being a mummy to both of them. So we tricked her into thinking that triplet was hers, and when I came away it was all looking really good. How about that? Hello, John Robert Armstrong, how are you? Again, I'm trying to sort of imply that there are different types of leaves of different colour. I'm going to imagine that there are some of these here. And this is just a layering process. It's a bit like doing a jigsaw. It just all comes together fairly organically. And then when one bit's dry, you can go back and do some more. So I sort of carefully avoid things as I'm going round. It's a pity I can't hear what you're saying. Rachel Batchelor's watching. Hello, Rachel Batchelor. Jane Anderson is slop a technical term. I don't know, maybe Becky Cordner can tell us what the technical term is for all the slop that comes out, you know, after the lamb comes out. I fight making a nice green, as you can see, so do I. I think the thing about greens is just not to stress about it too much. Valerie Elliott, hello, hello. So it's coming together. Wonderful lambing story. Thank you, Heather Gould. Wonderful in a slightly macabre sort of way, tricking the poor ewe into thinking that she'd had two, and she said, I'm sure I only felt one come out, but seemed to be two here and they smell correct. My battery's running quite low, which I don't understand because we are plugged in. Loving your dulcet tones, Merit. Foliage. Say foliage again. Foliage. 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 Celia Ridley. Hi, Celia. Hello, Margaret Rogerson. What, Margaret Rogerson, who used to be in West Woodburn? I'm trying to see a picture. I think it's you, but there isn't just one Margaret Rogerson, I hate to say. So all these leaves here, I would say, are in the foreground. So as I'm working through this, I would probably start adding maybe a little bit of blue to make the subsequent leaves of the same shape look as though they're sort of in the background. Oh, Laura de Wesselow, hello. I'll be adding a little bit of blue. It's not really dry enough to be able to do this, but now, Laura de Wesselow's husband is a very, very, very important part of my business because he is a shipping agent, I guess, and he deals with, when we send paintings and prints like all over the UK and sometimes abroad as well, I use Peter de Wesselow, who is, I think he was the winner of the franchisees last year for a company called In Excess. He's a franchisee, and we get what we call like a portfolio of different couriers to use through Peter, and they do the most marvellous job for us. We never get anything go missing or lost, and if we do, Peter goes and sorts it all out for us. So if anybody out there has any sort of mail order business or shipping, he is your man. So do you begin to get a sense that, I mean, obviously it's just a sort of made up, it's like it's a made up scene, but a sense of like leaves, layers of leaves in the background and in the foreground. And we could go back to that tomorrow. We're nearly 12:30. Are you not bored already? Sheila Eggleston and mine. Inexpress shipping is really good. Brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, we've got another fan of Peter de Westlow's marvellous service. And you must be shipping semen, is that right? Bull semen. Well done, you are improving. Oh, I've got something here for you, Laura. That was very rude. Sorry, I don't usually do that. I'm improving, cheeky bear. Just trying to hint at the inside of that ear. We could come back to this and do the eye tomorrow, couldn't we? Victoria Forbes is watching. Hello. Wave, wave. Dogs, post office. Leaves. Yeah. Shall we leave it at that for today, and then we'll come back tomorrow, and this and many other things. Eggs. And I thought foliage was naughty. Marianne Ray. Never bored with it. Oh, Heather, you're so sweet. Ross Corbett. Should you not be driving a wagon, Ross Corbett? I wanted to ask you something. If you ever come across a load of hardcore, we need one. Wave to Ross. Oh boy. Susie T, hello. Liz Johnson, Brian Johnson, loving it. Oh, Sarah Morley, you're so lovely. Now say moist for Helen. Please say foliage in a Geordie accent. Foliage. Yeah, I can just... Wait, foliage? Foliage? Lorenz imprinting theory, attachment form to first large object thing. Oh, don't say that. So I'm going to go to the lambing pens tomorrow, and two little lambs are going to rush up to me and call me mummy. Right. Look, it's... Oh, God, my face is like a tomato again. Look, it's been a delight, but I've got stuff to do. So we'll come back to this tomorrow. Don't bother sending me any more suggestions. But if you want to send me some curly whirlies or some licorice, super. Okie doke. Bye.